Hello YouTube. Originally I was going to talk faster in this video and make it something of a rant video, but if I did that I would skim over many important details of what I want to say. Now this video will be about how I got my American visa. But before I begin, let me clear up some speculation on where I come from. I live in Indonesia. I am an Indonesian citizen and I carry an Indonesian passport. I was born in the Netherlands, and for many years during my childhood I had a Dutch passport. My father originally is from the Netherlands, he's originally Dutch, but he now considers himself pure Indonesian. And my mother is native Indonesian, born here. So I have a white father and a Malay mother. And as to my languages, how many languages I speak English, Indonesian, and Dutch. I speak 3 languages, 2 fluently, and Dutch I speak on a limited scale. Now English is my first language, Indonesian is my second, and Dutch is my third. I went to private schools where most classes were taught in English. But not all. Some were taught in Indonesian. So that's why English is my first language. It was the language in my household growing up. It was the language mostly spoken in my school, but we were also taught Indonesian, of course. I grew up with 2 languages, essentially. Now that's my background. How did I get my American visa? I will find it first in my passport. If you'll just excuse me for a second. Here is my American visa in my Indonesian passport. I used my finger to cover up my full name because I don't want you guys to know my last name, you know. So how did I get this visa? I'm going to explain it in a slow step-by-step manner, because if I just ranted and complained on how complicated it was, I'd miss out on some details. Yes, I did say that in the beginning, but that's as to why I speak slowly. I did also say that, right? I always screw that up. Anyway, the first step to getting my US visa, I started the process like a month and a half ago. The first step was filling in a long form, was going onto the Jakarta Embassy website, the US Embassy in Jakarta's website, and then filling in the form. They will give you a kind of password or confirmation code or number. You will be given a kind of personal identification code. And now I don't say number because there was also some letters in there along with some numbers. A00 this, and this, etc., etc. They give you this code, this identification code, and then you fill in a 5-page form You are asked a series of questions. First and last name, date of birth, place of birth, name of your parents, etc., etc., etc. Nationality, etc., etc., etc. Now it's a long list of questions. They ask some questions more than once, but with different wording. Like, for example, where are you applying for this visa? Indonesia, obviously. Where will you be leaving the what will be the country you will be leaving from? Embarkation. Indonesia, obviously. Now so that's just one example. Now they do this to throw people off because they don't want people to want to give out just random answers, because they want to weed out liars. So this is a clever trick they got there. So I filled in this form, this 5-page form, and then they also ask attach a ID photo, which we took ourselves and uploaded online and uploaded onto the form. Then we click send. And then that is your applicant form or applicant information. It will be sent by the website into the US Embassy database. You are now a candidate to get a United States visa. They have your form. And then you have to print out that the form was confirmed printed. It will be I wish I brought the paper with me. I left it back home. It will be a piece of paper with your photo on it and your basic information. It's not the 5-page form. It's just a 1-page form with some basic information, confirming that you are a candidate for a United States visa. It'll be a short piece of paper. The long form, that's the short form that you hold on to. The long form has been sent to the US Embassy. They now have you in their database. That's just the first step, however. The second step is to make an appointment. To do this, you fill out another form online asking for an appointment. But before you do, you have to pay an application fee. Originally, I thought we could pay it online. I thought we could pay it online. The problem there is we could only pay it online if we had a bank account with one specific bank here in Indonesia, which is Permata Bank. I had a bank account with another Indonesian bank called BNI. But the Americans only accept payment through that particular bank, Permata Bank Standard Chartered. Now, if you don't have a bank account with that particular bank, you have to pay in cash at the bank. So, how do you pay the application fee? You bring your confirmation paper that you are a candidate for an American visa, and you print out a payment slip, which is also available on the website. You print that out, and you come with the payment slip and the confirmation paper, and you bring it to the bank and you pay the fee there, which is roughly, let's see, how much was it? Which was roughly $200 US. Yes, $200 US. You paid the application fee, and then they give you the receipt confirming that and then after you pay it at the bank, you give the money to the clerk at the desk at the bank. Then they give you a receipt, and that receipt has a receipt number you have there. And then when you fill in that second form, which is applying for an appointment at the US Embassy, you fill in a shorter form. They ask you some more standard questions, the same questions they asked you in the long form, which I just talked about earlier. You have to fill in that form and you have to type in your receipt number. And there is a little bit of deception here. When they gave the receipt number, they had the letters US in the front with a 6-digit number after that. You're not supposed to type in US before the 6-digit number, otherwise they won't recognize the receipt number. And nobody on the website or at the bank told me about this. I only learned about this after a phone call to the embassy complaining about this, saying, why aren't you accepting this receipt number? So after you fill in this short form and the receipt number, they gave me an un vowel. I have to use the an. They gave me an appointment at the US Embassy. So they say, come to the embassy in, let's see, what was it? 2 days time. 2 days time. And then you got after your appointment was confirmed, you have to bring out an appointment form. They print out the appointment form saying you're confirmed to have an appointment. And you have also a confirmation paper that you're a candidate for a visa, and that you have a confirmation for an appointment, and that it's confirmed that you have to pay, that you've paid. So you have to bring your receipt. You have to bring these 3 documents along with your passport to the US Embassy. So, a day later, I flew over to Jakarta. But there was one more requirement. They needed one more photo ID photo rather, which was 5 centimeters by 5 centimeters on a white background. I had to go to some Photoshop and have that and print out that ID photo to go along with my other documents. I did that just the day before I went to the embassy. And I went to the embassy with these documents. And then there was the following morning, there was a line outside the embassy. We go through a security check. They show the paper that you're confirmed for an appointment, and you go through a metal detector. You leave your cell phone there, and then you go into a outside waiting area, and you take a number. And then you go to the front. You go to a desk. You go to a desk, a front desk, and you give your number and your passport and your confirmation papers and your documents. You give the documents there. And then they give you a second number, your group number 17. They give you a second number. And then you wait. And then the second number is group number 17. Then they say that's the group I was. And then they make an announcement over loudspeaker saying group number 17 move to the next area. That's when we are ushered into a second room, into a indoor waiting area, where we get our fingerprints scanned, and then we wait in line with our passports ready. Oh, by the way, I forgot. When you go to the embassy, you also have to bring any old passports you might have. If there's because they might want to know your traveling history. Or if they might want to know, they might want to know some of your history of your travels. So they ask for older passports. I forgot to mention that. So anyway, I sit in the waiting room after I got my fingerprints scanned. I sit in the waiting room before they say, Group 17, wait in front of in front of desk number 7. As I wait, I hear there's some over the loudspeakers there. I can actually hear the interviewer asking questions to the visa applicants, to the visa candidates, the candidates for the visas. You can hear them out loud. I think they did this so people will know what kind of questions will be asked. So I waited in line with my documents after group number 17 was called. First I had to sit down, then they were called me over to wait in line. And then there were like 2 people in front of me applying for visas. After their short interviews, they were either confirmed or denied visas. When my name was called, when I came forward, they asked me a few basic questions. And they said, "You're Mr. William Smits, you're a librarian, you work for this foundation. Could you tell me about that? How long do you intend to stay in the United States? Where will you be visiting in the United States?" And I answered with confidence, and you don't look nervous, and you have to answer everything honestly and with confidence, straightforward. And I was answered with confidence because I had all the documentation I needed ready there. Although with some other people, they in different circumstances, they had to show other documents like birth certificates. Fortunately, in my case, I did not need to present all the documents because I was a straightforward tourist candidate. There were some people applying for business visas, student visas, etc. Now for tourist visas, it's much more straightforward. I answered the questions with confidence and directly. It was a fast-paced interview. And then the guy behind the desk said, behind the glass sheet said, "Your visa has been approved. Come back in 3 you will get your passport in 3 working days." So, good news for me, right? But it's not over yet, because I still need to get my passport with my visa in it. Then I flew back from Jakarta to my hometown and waited. Waited 3 standard days. 3 working days, I apologize. 3 working days along with a weekend because I applied on a Friday. And the embassy is not open on weekends. So I had to wait until Thursday. Wednesday it arrived at the FedEx office, but I had to pick it up on Thursday. So I waited a little bit under a week. And then last week on Thursday, I went to the local FedEx office, and by the way, it was not easy finding the address to this particular office, where they said, "Yes, we have your passport." I came there, and they said, "Yes, we have your passport." The problem was, I needed to make a photocopy of my Indonesian ID card. So, with that last obstacle, we went to a photocopy shop and made a photocopy of my ID card and gave it to the lady at the desk. She in turn gave me a large brown envelope with my passport in it. Opening up that envelope in the car, I took out my passport and looked inside, and there was my United States visa. And that is the long, boring story of how I got my United States visa. I hope you stayed with me the whole time. Bye now.